Hi everyone, I am John Paulo Matinong, along with my groupmates Ate Giselle Narvasa and Ate Cherry Medio. And today, we're going to discuss about the gender development and understanding and addressing developmental delays. But before we proceed to the discussion, let us have our objectives first.
After the discussion, students must able to first identify the gender development and understanding the developmental delays. Second, students were able to know how to respect and appreciate genders. Third, understand the developmental delays and where can it affect. And lastly, identify the importance of gender development and how to address developmental delays.
And now, let's proceed to the gender development. So, Ate Giselle, what really is gender development?
Today, I'm going to discuss about gender development. What is gender development? Gender development means how a person learn and understand how they are in terms of being a boy, girl, or neither, or in between somewhere. Is the process of learning and understanding one's gender identity. For example, a child may start say, I feel like a girl, or I feel like a boy, or I don't feel like either, as they learn about themselves. Next, it starts from childhood and continues through life. For example, a toddler may choose toys like cars, dolls, and blocks without thinking of gender as a teen, they can explore clothing or hairstyle fit who they are. Kana bitaw sa bata pa ka, confused pa ka kung unsa ka, so dili pa nimo ma-identify imong self. Pero pag dako-dako nimo, dito na day ka makaingon nga, feeling na ako kay babae ko. Feel jud na ako nga babae ko. Murag inana na siya nga kanang inana na siya. So you grow up. So that's influenced by family, peers, culture, school, and social media. So whatever gender you develop or what gender you in right now, it was influenced by our families, fears, culture, and school and social media. Understanding identity. Understanding identity is also part of gender development. Learners discover how they are as male, female, or other gender identities. For example, if you're in a certain gender, it is because you know that's who you are. You choose to be a girl or a boy or other gender because you know that's how you identify yourself. Next, it is part of building their self-concept and confidence. You know who you are and what you like. It helps you feel about yourself comfortable. For example, knowing your strength. Kanang kabalo ka og asa ka master. Embracing your interest. Kanang muna imong mga ganahan. Ginalove nimo og unsa imong mga ganahan. Being true to yourself. Nagpakatinuod lang ka kung unsa ka. These things help you build your confidence and self-concept, making you feel happy and comfortable in your own skin. Teachers should support each learners with identity and respect. Social and educational influence. Social and educational influence is also part of gender development. Family, teachers, and media shape gender expectations. For example, family. Your parents encourage you to play cars. Yes, but you are not a boy. You're a girl. So, mag-alinlangan ka nga magdula og car kay dili man nimo ganahan. You're not a girl. You're not a boy either. So, mag-alinlangan ka kay imong gusto is doll imong gusto. But your parents force you to play a toy car. So, gakakuan ka, gaka-pressure ka. Also, teachers. Kana bitong siguro, nowadays, teacher doesn't do more pressures what gender identity you have. Sometimes, it's in your peers. Peers. Kana, in terms of, gaka-pressure gapon ka sa imong mga peers. For example, nag-join sila o kanang, friends. You're a straight boy. And then you have a friend who is other identities. Then, he joined a pageant. He joined a pageant, but you didn't wear clothes like what pageant really wear too. So, gaka-pressure pud ka tungod sa imong peers. So, mapugos na lang ka. That's how peers influence you, as influence your gender identity. Next is media. Maulaw ka usahay magpakita ug unsa ka sa social media kay gakabash ka, or example inana. So dili pa ka comfortable sa inyo. More or like inana. And then promote equality and inclusions in all learning experience. Next is respecting gender diversity. Some learners do not fit traditional gender rules. It means some of the students don't follow the usual expectations of what boys and girls should be like. For example, a boy who loves to dance or play with dolls. So, let's respect them. That's what they like. Another example is a girl who loves to play volleyball, football. Football mostly played by the boys. But a girl loves play football, then let them be. We have to respect them. They didn't fit the traditional ideas for female or male, but it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Next is inclusive educational respect all identities. Yes, inclusive education means treating all students with respect and dignity. For example, here in NBEC, one of our core values here is inclusivity. It means we have treat them as all, like nothing wrong with that, being what they are. So it with respect and dignity, regardless of their gender identity, their sexual orientation, culture, ability, and regardless of their background. Next, create a safe and non-judgmental classroom environment. It means making a classroom where students feel comfortable and supported without being fair, judged, or criticized. Importance of gender development. Why it is important to develop your gender? Because it builds self-confidence and respect for others. Next, promotes empathy and understanding. Next, strengthen inclusive and fair school culture. Here are some example practices. Use storybooks showing both boys and girls as leaders or scientists. Next is allow students to join any activity regardless of their gender. So, as I said in my previous, we should respect what regardless is their identity. Next, encourage respect and open discussion about equality. So, dapat open ta sa ilaha, dili nato sila dapat wadan og rights. Everyone has a right, whatever your gender identity is. It is also part of gender development. So to develop our gender, we have to express for who they are. Dili po nato sila barabarahon or kanang disrespect. We have to respect them whatever they say or what they are going to open up with us about their gender identity. So we should be fair. Overall, gender development is part of every learner's growth. Teachers guide students to understand and express identity freely. Inclusion means equal respect and opportunity for all learners. Thank you. So that was my topic all about. I hope you learned something and you enjoy listening to it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for that, Ate Giselle Narvasa. Now let's move on to another topic, which is understanding and addressing developmental delays. What is understanding and developmental delay? It is a condition where a child's development is slower than expected. Developmental delay essentially means that a child is taking a little longer than other children their age to reach certain key milestones. Think of a developmental as a road with many important stops, like learning to walk, talk, or use a spoon. Most children arrive at these stops at similar times, but a child with a developmental delay is traveling that road a bit more slowly.
Now, let us talk first about on physical developmental delay. This delay affect movement, strength, and coordination. For example, a child who cannot sit without support at the expected age and show poor balance and frequent clumsiness is an indicators of delayed and physical or motor development. Or a child has difficulty on holding a pencil, spoon, or stacking blocks is also demonstrating indicator of delayed physical development. And now, let us talk about cognitive developmental delay. These delays affect thinking, problem solving, and understanding. For example, a child may show cognitive developmental delays when they struggle to follow simple instructions, such as pick up the toy, and have difficulty identifying basic colors, shapes, and numbers at the age when most children can do so. And now, let us talk about communication developmental delay. This delay affects a child's ability to understand language and to express themselves. For example, a child may show communication developmental delays when a child who is not saying any words by 18 months, or a child who uses only a few words or has unclear speech by 3 years old may indicate the developmental delay. The children who cannot express their needs clearly, which often leads to frustration and tantrums because they cannot communicate what they want. And now, let us talk about social emotional developmental delay. This delay affects how a child interacts with others and manage their emotions. For example, a child who avoids eye contact, does not respond when called, and has difficulty sharing, taking turns, or playing cooperatively may show indicators of social emotional developmental delay. And the last one is adaptive developmental delay. This delay affects everyday skill needed for a child independence. For example, a child has difficulty feeding themselves. They are still messy or dependent at the age when they should eat alone. And a child cannot dress or undress independently even with a simple clothing. It may show indicator of adaptive developmental delay. And now we will talk about the causes of developmental delay, which is when children reach milestones later than expected. First is on genetic or heredity factor. Some delays are linked to genetics, meaning a certain condition can be passed from parents to their children. And the next is on prenatal factor. It affects babies before birth. Complications like infections, exposure of harmful substances, or lack of prenatal care can affect a child's development. And the third one is on birth complication, such as being born prematurely or having a low oxygen at the birth can slow the development. And the fourth one is on infection or illness during infancy. Serious illnesses, high fever, or infection like meningitis can interfere with a child's early growth. Next is environmental factor. It also matters in a child development. A child who doesn't get enough stimulation or social interaction may show delays in their physical, cognitive, or social development. And lastly is unknown causes. In many cases, the cause is not clearly identified. Early detection and intervention remain essential. Early support and care can help children catch up regardless of the causes. Sign of developmental delay. Developmental delays happen when a child does not reach milestone at the expected age. This milestone includes physical, cognitive, and communication, and on social emotional skills. Early identification is very important because it helps children receive a proper support and intervention.
Addressing developmental delays. Early intervention. This means we should provide a specialized support and services as soon as developmental delay is identified, ideally in infancy or toddlerhood. Example, if a 2-year-old isn't saying many words, speech therapy can start immediately to help them develop their language skills sooner. Next is inclusive education. This is the practice of educating children and without developmental delays together in the same classroom.
Example, a child who uses a wheelchair attends a regular elementary school class with their peers, receiving support services right there instead of being segregated. Next is the Individualized Education Plan or IEP, a legal document that spells out a child's unique learning needs, the specific services the school will provide, and how progress will be measured. Example, an IEP might detail a student receives 30 minutes of occupational therapy twice a week and needs extra time to complete tests. Next is collaboration, working together as a team. Teachers, the parents, the therapist, and other specialists to ensure consistent support for the child. Example, the teacher and the child physical therapist regularly communicate about the child's progress on walking goals. And lastly, the positive environment, creating a setting such as home and school that is supportive and encouraging and celebrates every small success. Example, teachers and parents use praise and encouragement like great job for trying instead on focusing mistakes. In conclusion, developmental delays do not define a child's potential. A slower start in one area doesn't limit what a child can achieve later in life. With early support and inclusive education, every child can succeed by providing the right tools and environment allows children to overcome challenges and thrive. Every learner matters. Every learner counts. This is a powerful reminder that every single child has value and deserves the resources and attention necessary for their personal success. And that would be all for our today's discussion. I hope you learned something about it. Thank you for listening and watching.